Grab a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Prosperity Lounge, where hope meets freedom and growth gets personal. I'm your host, Joey Ruffalo, financial coach, best-selling author, and business growth strategist. Every week, we dive into money, mindset, business, wellness, because prosperity isn't just about your bank account. It's about being strong and purposeful in every area of your life. Tonight is a special one because with the holidays coming up, so many people struggle with staying healthy, yours included, staying consistent, and staying motivated. And we are going to fix that tonight. So before we dive into all the sweetness, pun totally intended here, let me catch you up on what's been happening with the Prosperity Lounge here. So starting this month, you can catch the new Prosperity Lounge episodes every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Live premieres, full chat, great energy. It's about a half-hour episode. We replay them. So we're in the chat for about an hour having fun. And, of course, our radio show here airs every Friday night from 6 to 7 on Praise 96.3 as well as on YouTube. And I say 6 to 7, and I dare do that 6-7 trend. I already tried it out on YouTube. So doing my best to annihilate that one when I can. So we're going to keep the conversation going with real stories about faith, finance, and freedom. If you missed our recent episodes, we've had some great guests on the podcast as well as on the Wednesday show, including Ambassador Fitz Haney, former ambassador to Costa Rica, and fellow Tennessean family in the area. So we had a great conversation about faith and leadership and international diplomacy and things like that. It was a really good conversation. Jeffrey Hazlett, who's the CEO of C-Suite and former chief marketing officer for Eastman Kodak. In fact, if you watch The Celebrity Apprentice, he was each season of The Celebrity Apprentice, he was one of the judges, like the celebrity judges that came out to do the task for everything. So he was pretty, we talked about his upbringing and where he's from and what got him with grit and determination from growing up on a ranch in South Dakota to being today. Last week on the show, we had here on Friday, we had Jessica and Gracie from Baked by Grace, Jessica Strunk from the Strunk Wallace real estate team, talking about our new Holly Jolly Home contest this year. And the Holly Jolly Home contest is free to enter, hollyjollyhome.com. And it's a Christmas light decorating contest for all of Knox County. It's free to enter. You get 3 different categories you can enter into. You have to enter by December 6th. If you enter by December 21st, though, you are entered to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Fantasy of Trees event that the East Tennessee Children's Hospital is putting on here. It's a great event to go to. You get entered to win a 4-pack of that. But you have until December 6th. And on December 7th, the interactive map will be released. And you'll be able to sort by the categories, drive by, and vote. More importantly, vote on who you find to be the best decorated house, business, display. There's a bunch of different categories. The winners, and this is important, the winners get prizes. There's prize backs. If you're a business out there that wants to sponsor a prize, feel free to contact us because I'm one of the sponsors. And you also get an interview with me to showcase your house. So I'm excited about that. And then we had a couple weeks ago, Sam Soto from Tell Me About Your Dog podcast. That's a great one to listen to as well. She'll talk all things vets, pets, and pet insurance. So some great stuff going on. But tonight we're talking with Coach Mike Wilson from The Forge, who's going to be here to tell us all things we need to do to stay fit and healthy throughout the holidays. First, I need to get into some housekeeping. I got to make a quick shout out to our partners who make the show possible. We got Bello Business Solutions, putting it on the screen here. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can click on that QR code. If not, you can go to bellobusinesssolutions.com. Mention Make Business Make Sense and get a free consultation. They do all things, taxes, business, everything. Just give them a call or shout them out. Go visit their website. Make sure you make business make sense. Get a free consultation. Tell them Joey sent you. And she's awesome.
Yeah, she works with a couple of people I know.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And secondly, we got Joe LaPera from LaPera Insurance. You can call 865-252-0480. That's 865-252-0480. Or email Joe at jlapera. That's JLAPERA at farmersagent.com. And get this, if you are one of the first 10 quotes this month and use code JRRadio, he's giving you a free gift card. So definitely do that. All right. And we're good to go there. Let's see what else we got going on before I get here with Coach Mike. Oh, and Joe's actually going to be on the show in a couple weeks, so bring your insurance questions for that. Got some great guests coming up. Next week, we got the Hall Theater from he's going to be here talking about their Christmas play. Joe LaPera is going to be here in December. We're working on the guest, and I think if you guys stay tuned, I think it's going to be December 19th. I'm just putting it out there now. Some fellow with a red suit, a white beard, who's pretty busy around this time of year, is going to be here to answer all your questions and find out what list you're on. So stay tuned for that. And you can call in and text in any of your questions for the man in the red suit. I'm going to leave it at that and tease you there. All right. Joining me is a man who is absolutely on fire right now. Coach Mike Wilson, founder of The Forge, one of the fastest growing training programs in the company's East Tennessee. Their phones have been literally ringing off the hook with parents, athletes, and adults looking to get stronger, faster, and more confident. And tonight we're tackling some big questions, especially the one about how do you stay fit and focused without gaining the holiday weight? And trust me, you don't need to overcomplicate it. But let me start with you. Questions for the audience. You ready?
Yes.
What's the biggest challenge you face staying healthy during the holidays? Is it food, stress, time, or motivation? If you're on YouTube watching the show, hit us up in the chat. Let us know. Pull up a chair, everybody. The lounge is open. Coach Mike, thank you for joining me. Thanks for pulling up a chair.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome to the
That's
lounge.
awesome. Yeah,
Appreciate
we've been
that.
talking about this for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good that we finally matched up our schedules.
absolutely. Appreciate that. It was the perfect timing for this.
Yeah.
So let's start with who you are, what you do, and the mission behind The Forge. You and I talked this week, and you told me something pretty incredible. The phones have been ringing nonstop these last 2 weeks. New families, teams reaching out.
Yeah.
Man, you must be doing something right and powerful over there at The Forge. So give me a little bit about what The Forge is and what you're doing.
Well, I'll tell you, Joey. Okay, so with what we're doing, where we're at right now with our business, it's just like the way the fitness works with people.
Mhm.
And it's like any kind of habit that you have. The way it works with people is if you can put in some daily deposits, and they don't have to be, you don't have to hit home runs every day, hit singles every day. So for the past 3.5 years in the location that we're at, we've just been focused on hitting singles every day and not getting too high, not getting too low with everything that we're doing, and really expanding our reach to the best of our ability through our partnerships, through the teams that we work with, through the individual families that we work with, through the super moms, the super dads, the super grandpas, the super Grammys. Just daily deposits into them. And there's a point where you see everything happen, and there's a point where you hit that flashpoint where everybody knows what's going on, everybody knows you, everybody, and now they're telling their friends, and everybody's contacting you, and that's where we're at, and we're blessed to be in that position. But it's the daily deposits, and it transfers over into what we talk about with health and wellness. With health and wellness, it's like, hey, if you can daily be keeping be paying attention to a couple of metrics that we have that we like and we know are good for our clients, if they can keep their eyes on those metrics, then over time everything's going to happen. And we tell people all the time, hey, if you're carrying an extra 10, 15, 20 pounds, you didn't gain it in a day, so you're not going to lose it in a day. So give yourself some grace, and let's focus on getting the work done and keeping it simple.
That's kind of similar when I talk to clients about when we're dealing with debt and I'm trying
Yes.
to coach them there. It's like it took time to accumulate a lot of this. It's going to take time to get rid of a lot of it. And there's things you need to adjust in your financial diet in order
Uh-huh.
to trim down the fat, so to speak,
Uh-huh.
to spend less than you make, which is sort of the same with calories. You don't burn more than you take in, so you get there.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of concepts. And I always tell people I'm like a trainer as well. You get out what you put into it, and
Yep.
if you don't show up to the gym to put in the work, don't blame the trainer.
Right.
Don't blame me when that's the
Yep.
case. You have to do the work yourself. I can guide you in that process, but I can't do the work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, when you talk about debt, I'm working on that right now in my personal life too.
Sweet.
Because I was a business that survived COVID.
Yeah.
We were here before COVID, and we were able to push through COVID and get to the end of COVID. But through that, you gain some debt because you're trying to just keep everything afloat.
Yeah.
And 3 months ago, we paid off one of the PPP loans. Is that what they
Yeah,
were?
yeah.
Yeah. We paid off one of those 3 months
Sweet.
ago, and then I had a short term that I'm paying off next month. And man, it feels good.
Oh, wow.
It feels good when you're paying those off.
Weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
I love
And then
that.
you think about, hey, this is how much how much money we've had to allocate to these things
Yeah.
over the past, 3-4 years. And to see those now out and that money's free now, and now we can allocate it to something else.
Yeah, and that's when in your business, not out of
Yeah,
your business.
exactly.
Growth potential there. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about The Forge. What makes it different from your typical training program?
Yeah, definitely. I know we talk to people all the time about this, especially this time of year, because there's a lot of people who this time of year are going to choose to go to a place like a Planet Fitness or like a Gold's Gym or something like that, and they want to start on January 1st.
New Year's resolution.
Yeah. New
Or
year, new
fresh
me,
new
baby.
year.
New year, new me. And
I'm
for
guilty of
us,
that.
we are more about we're semi-private coaching, so groups of 6 or less with what we're doing.
Okay.
Everything is coached. You don't go into our gym and go and pick your machine and do your own thing.
Start wandering around.
Yeah.
Fiddling around. Okay.
Everything that we do is coached, and our clients love that.
Mm.
And our clients love the small groups, whether it's our adults that we're working with, groups of 6 or less, whether it's our athletes that we're working with, groups of 6 or less, and they love it, and it gives them that personal touch. A lot of our adult clients like it because it's the personal touch, or sorry, it's the personal training experience without personal training price. Yeah, and
you
they
get
love
that
that.
motivation built in too, and
Yeah.
camaraderie of people pushing you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's 2 things. I was actually talking to somebody earlier this week that we're talking about getting them in the gym, and we're just like, okay, what do we need to say? Or, what do we need to what's the little button we need to push to get you in the gym?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, most of the people that come here want that accountability. That's why they come here. They want accountability. They know when they sign up with us that they show up, like whether it's myself or whether it's one of my other coaches.
Mhm.
They have to show up for that. And that's enough. That's all the motivation that they
Yeah.
need. And we work with a lot of high performing individuals, whether it's our athletes or whether it's our adults. High performing business people. We have a lot of entrepreneurs that are great self starters in their business, but not great self starters in their health.
I raise my hand there. For
Yeah,
guilty of that too.
And they do it, and they run that business so well. But when it comes to that personal health, it's like, well, I just can't find the motivation for it, and so they hire us to do that for them. And that's really what makes us different, is we have that um, that thing. And I say it's in between Gold's Gym, Planet Fitness, and then also on the other side where you have this boot camp CrossFit model.
Okay.
And the boot camp CrossFit model is, hey, you bring in 15, 20 people, you have 1 or 2 coaches coaching them, maybe usually it's just 1 coach coaching them. And like half the people like aren't on the same page with the other half people, 'cause everybody's working at a different rate.
Right.
And when I was conceptually bringing this all together a couple years ago, and we got the space that we needed, thanks to God, we got the place that we needed. I personally, like my background I was a college football coach and I was a college strength coach.
Wow.
And my background was in working with these bigger groups.
Mhm.
We're training groups of 30, 40, 50 athletes at one time
Wow.
and getting them to run these tasks. And within that, you're not able to coach it all with detail. And so what I wanted to do with what we do is I wanted to go the exact opposite way, where if I'm coaching, I don't
Mhm.
want to be overwhelmed.
Sure.
If my coaches are coaching, and that was more important to me than myself, was if my coaches were coaching, I didn't want them to be overwhelmed. And I knew that 6 people is probably like the max to be able to coach effectively, to connect.
Yeah.
And we talk about that. That's like the number one
Connection
thing.
for sure.
We get them in because they want to be held accountable. Once we get them there, then we connect with them right away. That's the number one thing. If we're not
Love that.
connecting, yep, if we're not connecting with our uh, athletes or our adults, nothing's happening. You're
Yeah.
not going to feel motivated. You're not going to feel like I say all the time, you know, these clients, they don't care about what you know until they know that you care. That's where
I
that
love
connection
that.
piece comes in.
Yeah.
We spend and whether it's myself or whether it's my coaches that I work with, we spend the first 5 to 10 minutes within our warm up connecting with them and figuring out where are you at in your day, where are you at in your week, and what does the flow need to be for this workout.
That's amazing to hear that because sometimes, people are so static in what they're doing with their workout, right? It's like we're going to do this intensity regardless. And what I'm kind of hearing you saying is, man, I had a tough week, I had a tough day, I'm sluggish today. We're going to take out the pace. It's still going to go through it. We're
Yeah.
going to get the workout done, but I'm not going to. It's not going to be counterintuitive to how I'm feeling because in some of those situations, and I like it to the bigger groups where you can kind of just get lost in the back of the room.
Right.
You can get injured because you're not doing the reps right. Nobody's watching you. Nobody's correcting you on certain movements. And then you feel like, why am I coming here? I'm just going to go home. Or I got hurt and I'm not going to say anything because I didn't do the rep right because nobody corrected me on the right movement on
Right.
what I'm doing. And I run that risk. So it sounds like you guys, because of that small group and, your trainers are able to kind of connect and see what's going on. I mean, you're meeting them where they're at,
Yep.
which I love.
Yeah. And session by session, week by week, we want to make sure that we know everything that's going on
Mhm.
with our clients, and it's important because I have a lady who's she's going to be in January. She's getting a shoulder surgery, and we're just trying to get her strong so that when she has that shoulder surgery,
Mm,
that recovery is going to be a better,
better. Yeah,
than if she wasn't doing anything.
absolutely.
And then probably 4 months later, she's gonna have a knee replacement also. So she's up for a couple things next year, and we're just making sure that along the process, we're keeping her strong and confident
Yeah.
with everything that she does. And everybody comes in, like our adult population it's unique. And I tell people all the time, we have 25 adults that work with us. 23 of them are women, and we got 2 guys that work with us. The ladies love what we do, and it's that small
Yeah.
group, and it's that camaraderie, and they love it because they're all supportive of one another. They come from a bunch of different backgrounds. We have perimenopausal women, menopausal women, postmenopausal women. We're making sure that within all of that, like we're communicating with them, we're giving them the resources that they need
Mhm.
to navigate the different stages of their life. We had one of our super Grammys. Her husband passed away a month ago,
Mm,
and so connecting with her, and it's like
yeah.
you don't have to come back in the gym, but we just want you to know that we care about you and we're thinking about you. And we all made her a card and gave her some
I love
flowers,
that.
and it's those things
It's a
that
community we
yeah,
build.
it's those
Yeah.
things that matter. And it's like it's a huge transition for her.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a huge transition for her, but we just want her to know that, like, we love her and we care about her and, like, she's important to us.
Yeah. But going back to the purposeful coaching aspect that you were talking about, but also the building relationships. And when you build those relationships, it's not just workouts. It seems like it's a core value for you guys, and it really helps people stick with it longer and stay with it because,
Yeah.
like you said, it's part of that relationship. Was there a moment early in your coaching career that made you realize that this was more than business? This was a calling for you guys, especially for you.
You know, I tell people all the time. It's funny. I kind of make a joke with it, but it's really it's important. I tell people if you don't think that something is your calling, then try to leave it.
Okay,
Try to leave it. And I've tried to leave coaching.
really?
Yeah, in the past 20 years, there's been 3 or 4 times where I've tried to leave coaching, and God's put something in, God's put an opportunity in there, that's prevented me from leaving.
This is my opportunity, Mike, to do a really horrible impression of Michael Corleone from Godfather 3.
Yeah.
Just when I thought I was out,
Yeah.
they pull me back in.
Yeah, and I've looked at stuff. I've looked at stuff like insurance sales, car sales, all that stuff, and I start to get the ball rolling on it, and then God provides, clients or the next opportunity in
Yeah,
coaching or
I've seen that
whatever.
happen before.
He does it, and I tell people, hey, if you're questioning what your calling is, leave it, and if you leave it and you're gone, hey, that wasn't what you're calling, because I have tried to leave this, and every time God's brought me back.
Wow,
And
yeah.
and that's when, I realized, it just went and when I transitioned from college athletics, into this privatized
Mhm.
setting that we're in now, there was, there's many times, especially in the last 8 years, where, you're looking at the balance sheet, and you're like, "Man, this is not making sense." You know? And then the next day, somebody's calling you. A
Right.
coach is calling you. Somebody's calling you. At least my experience, and, "Hey, we wanna start working on this deal." The day after I looked at that balance sheet, I said, "This is not making sense."
Right. Tends to happen though sometimes. We're down in, at our worst, and
Yeah,
we're blessed with something.
yeah.
Just
One of my guys, he did a video. We do a lot of videos on YouTube on our personal pages just about
I
how
love
God's
that.
impacted us, how God's
Yeah,
impacted us and everything. And he's like, God doesn't make sense and God's not supposed to make sense. He just is.
yeah. I watched a clip earlier, and it's very funny. And this is like kind of telling. It's like somebody. It was a movie. And I can't remember the name of the movie. Morgan. It was Morgan Freeman was in it, and this lady's talking to him about God finding an opportunity for her to, be successful or to spend time with her kids, and she's been praying for uh, getting closer. I'm going to get this wrong, but getting closer to her husband and stuff like that. And he said that God necessarily doesn't provide the opportunity for that direct connect, that direct closeness, but provides the opportunities for you to get close. So the thing you're asking for, He's not necessarily giving you or showing you, but He's giving you the opportunities to achieve it
Yes.
through those opportunities. So the things that are out there. So you pray for something, He doesn't necessarily give you that, but He gives you the opportunity to get that. But you have to see those opportunities, take it.
Yeah.
The opportunities that we were talking about, and you were talking about, is you're ready to quit. The
Yeah.
opportunities are here's some clients, take some clients, stay with what you're doing.
Yeah. No,
I love that.
I've been on this journey personally, probably the last 4 or 5 months now, where God has told me and so many times to slow down and to get quiet and to not be trying to do so much.
Mhm,
And when I have been obedient, when I have slowed down, and when I have quieted myself, I have seen the things that God has for me. And sometimes we're just moving too fast. A-
mhm,
And I can say with most of my clients, sometimes their schedule is just too full. Coach Mike's schedule is too full too. And we're not fitting the 2 times a week of working out into that schedule.
yeah,
And for them, it's like, okay, and these are weekly text messages that I send to people. Hey, we got to make time for this week. We have to make time for this week.
mhm.
We have to do it. And it
This is
only has to be
important.
2 times. It only has to be 2 times, but we have to make time to be
Yeah.
in here this week.
That's important too, but going back to the actual, like health and wellness part of it, talking about like you said, the high achievers, the high entrepreneurs, or even just people that are really stressed and going. There's parts of the day where you're tired and I have to do more. I have to get more work done. I have to do more and more and more to free up time. But you're tired, right? So
Right.
working out gives you the energy. It gives you the endorphins. It gives you the energy boost to get those things that are taking longer to get done. You can get them done quicker,
Yeah.
and therefore you free up the time to work out.
Yeah.
Like if I
Yeah.
struggle with something because I'm just mentally fogged, and it takes me an hour to do something that should only take me a half hour.
Yeah.
When I've worked out, and it takes me a half hour, I free up a half hour of my time. Guess what I'm doing that half hour? I'm working out.
Yeah.
I love that.
One of our biggest misconceptions is that we can work ourselves out of, the bad health and everything like that.
Mm,
Where it's like, no, you have to have your workout has to be part of what gets you healthy, both in your personal life, but also in your business.
right.
And I was actually so I have this thing at the gym where when when we're doing group training and only one client shows up, I work out with them.
Okay.
And so Monday morning it was like 24 degrees, it was cold out.
Yeah.
Sometimes the ladies don't show up when it's cold out for whatever reason,
Yeah. Snow
And
on the ground.
yeah. And so one of my ladies showed up. I worked out with her, and I started off my week with a hard lift, and I did a heavy deadlift. And we were talking almost 400 pounds with a deadlift, and I was hitting a heavy deadlift. And you know what? I felt great Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just because I started off my week with that heavy lift right there. That's how simple it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, just start your week off.
Right.
Take an hour at the beginning of your week.
Yeah.
Get yourself going. Get the fire started.
Absolutely. We talked to some people when they talk about motivation. It's just that thing of getting up in the morning, making your bed, doing some simple task to get your day off right
Mm-hmm.
to set you up for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I love that. Good morning. I was always an evening lifter.
Yeah.
I loved working out late at night.
Yep.
After 8 o'clock was when I was the best. I could never
Yeah.
work out early in the morning, but always. So little known fact about me is I was a competitive power lifter.
Yes.
Several
All
years ago.
right.
Competitions were always early in the morning. I always worked out late at night. So those
You remember what your numbers were?
I do.
All right. Let's go.
260 bench, 565 deadlift, and 460 on the spot.
Wow.
460 squat.
My man.
And that was still a record for the foundation or the organization I was with 10 years later.
Yeah.
I was one competition away from qualifying for the Vegas Nationals
Yeah.
and stuff, but I tore my shoulder
Okay. Oh,
training. And then,
man. Yeah.
but just recently, about a year or so ago, I was back training a little bit, and I kind of was close to those numbers again.
That's awesome.
But it's been a while. But I was a lot heavier weight now than I was back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
a little more push now.
Yeah, a little more there. But yeah, I was a lot lighter back then when I was doing
Yeah.
that. But yeah, that was my claim to fame there. I got a little
That's
back
awesome.
and a little
Those are great
metal stuff.
numbers.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
1250. Yeah. Woo, baby.
So I want to move into a little bit about the holidays now. And my favorite thing is people overcomplicate it and they give up around the holidays, especially with everything that's around food wise and
Yes.
activity. And then January starts, and you said New Year, new me, New Year kind of stuff. Let's simplify it. Help us keep weight off, stay active, and enjoy health guilt. So a couple quick questions for you. What's one of the biggest mistakes you see people make about fitness during the holidays?
Well, we've talked about it a couple times. They don't have time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have time for it because and the thing is, they say they don't have time for it, but they're overcomplicating the process in their mind.
Mm,
We get results with our adults and our athletes only having them come in twice a week.
ooh, I love that.
And so we sit there and we say, hey, I need you to make 2 hours out of your week for this. And what happens is, Joey, this is the perfect arc of how every adult works with us is they come in 2 times a week. After about 3 or 4 weeks, they're feeling good. And they're just saying, oh, well, maybe I will go out for a walk, and do this 2 more days. Maybe, I'll go for a jog. Maybe I'll do something more. or come in and do another session with us, and that's what happens. It takes those first 2 days of investment. If we can get people doing those first 2 days of investment, then they're good, and it just gets the habit going for them. I mean, it's just like what you talk about financially.
Yeah.
Habits. Like, what are
Habits.
the habits? And if your habits, if we can convince you that you can take 2 days out of your week, 2 hours out of your week, and dedicate it to health and wellness, along with the other stuff, like the gym. And I tell people all the time, this is the crazy part with people is, if they don't know, and if they're searching, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook for whatever the trend is, that trend is going to lead them to think that they need to do this 5, 6, 7 times a week,
Right.
and they don't, and it's like, hey, work out twice a week. Okay, what are you going to do on top of that? Okay, here's what you're going to do on top of that. Okay, you're going to make sure every morning that you're eating breakfast and you're getting the fire started.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting the fire started. You're eating breakfast, you're getting the fire started. Now, what is breakfast? Okay? It could be traditional breakfast. But I know so many people that I've worked with personally, they're like, I don't like eggs. I don't like bacon. I don't like sausage. I don't like breakfast.
Who are these people?
And I'm like, well, I love breakfast, but I understand. Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're going to get a protein bar, or you're gonna get a protein shake. All we need is some kind of sustenance that gets the fire started inside you. That's all we need.
Okay.
If we can get that going, and so, if somebody tells me that they don't like breakfast, I say, well, what's your favorite food? And they tell me, like, can you eat that? Can you call that breakfast from now on?
Pizza for breakfast?
Maybe not pizza.
Chocolate
I
cake?
don't know.
Chocolate cake for breakfast? All right.
But can you make that breakfast? Because you know what breakfast is. If it's eggs, bacon, everything like that, you know what that is? That's what your parents made for you. That's what grandma made for you. That's just a story, just like everything else that I talk about. That's just a story that you have. Okay. And while we're rewriting this health and wellness story for you, we are also rewriting just the little names that you've given to stuff in your life, like breakfast.
That's why it's the most important meal of the day.
Exactly. You just got to get the fire started. I tell everybody, this is like, your body is like a furnace. Okay. And if you want to start, burning calories, burning fat, everything like that, you can't do that with a furnace that's not burning.
Right. Drive your car with no gas in the tank.
Right. Exactly.
Burn out that engine and then replace it.
Yeah. So we go there with breakfast, and then proceed to saying, hey, how much water do you need? How much water are you drinking right now?
Water, yeah.
And I suggest 96 to 128 ounces. So it's like 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon for people every day. That's how much you need to be bringing in.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when everybody thinks about it, they're like, oh, yeah, I've had like 3 of these little, whatevers. And it's like, well, that's not enough. That's only 48 ounces. So I get them, and I have it in the car. I have my half gallon that I have. And I'm like, start taking this half gallon around.
Yeah.
With my athletes during the summer, it's like, start carrying this gallon jug around and drink the whole gallon, So just stuff like that. Sleep is a big thing.
Okay.
Sleep is like, it is, if you aren't getting it, and if you're not investing in sleep, like, you might as well throw the rest of it all away, because you got to get that sleep. And most of our high performers are, I want them to get 8 hours, but most of our high performers, it's like, if you can at least get like 7 hours, like, you'll be going in the right direction with that.
So we talked a lot of stuff here.
We are, yeah.
What would be one non-negotiable habit that someone could stick to? One simple thing that someone should do between Thanksgiving and New Year's? Water. Start drinking more.
Yeah. Hydration.
Okay.
Yep. Hydration. I think, like, I would say breakfast. Actually, breakfast is the easiest one, because that's just like, get up and eat something.
Okay.
Hydration is number 2. Exercise 3. Sleep 4. Everybody struggles with sleep. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know I do.
Yep. Yeah.
What's one of the things when you're coaching people who feel overwhelmed or who keep starting over, what's an approach you have for somebody like that?
Yeah, if somebody is having issues with that, what we have to think about, Joey, is like, where's the root? Where's the root of that lie? It's probably
Right.
nothing that you're seeing in this gym, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's and there's so many ways that the root may lie, you know? It's like, well, and this gets deeper into coaching, like, this gets
Yeah,
into
coaching, you have
emotional,
to be
yeah.
part therapist in a sense.
Yeah,
I feel that way too sometimes.
this gets into creating that
That
intellectual, emotional bond
right,
with
connection.
your clients
Mhm.
and with your athlete, which is what I wanna do. Like, above all, I wanna be a transformational coach. Like, I want a transformation, with the adults that we work with the
Mhm.
athletes that we work with. I wanna be pivotal in that. So finding out what the root is, like, what's the root? Why, you know, I an example, just
Yeah.
you know, if somebody's like, if they can't get out of bed in the morning, then it's like, okay, well, have you studied your day? And like you were saying, you like to work out at night. Your optimal time to work out is at night. So let's find how we can free up that window for you to work out at night.
Yeah.
So late night projects with work, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're putting that in a different part of the day.
Yeah.
For myself, I'm an early bird. I get up 4 o'clock, 4:30 a.m. I know if I don't get my workout in by noon, it's not getting done for the day. So I have to get it done before noon. Yep, and I read a time management book a couple years ago, and it talked exactly about that. Everybody has an optimal time which they do optimal stuff during the day, and mine is probably 4 a.m. to about 10 a.m. That's when I get all my optimal stuff done.
Yeah.
Once we get past 10 a.m., it's cruise control, and I'm not really, and I know, like, myself, from a motivation standpoint, it's like, you better get all that important stuff done before 10 a.m. because my focus, and my discipline
Sure.
wanes after 10 a.m., you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I was a 9 o'clock at night to like as long as I could go.
Yeah.
Sometimes get home at 11 o'clock or later, depending on the gym, because I like not having too many people in there.
Yeah.
They get
Uh-huh.
time in between the sets. When you're doing the
Yeah.
heavy lifting, it's like
Oh, yeah.
one set of like two, and then you're waiting 3 minutes to lift again.
Yeah.
So you need a little bit of not somebody clamoring to like get on the bar and
Yeah.
so I just need
And
the
it's like
time to work.
you're having those deep conversations with people,
Mhm.
and you're saying, "Okay, so you're telling me you're not a morning person, but you can commit to 6:30 a.m.?" Like, probably not working.
Right.
We just had a client who wanted to move from from her Monday, Thursday schedule to a Tuesday, Friday schedule.
Okay.
Went for 3 weeks, and she showed up one time in 3 weeks. I'm like, "Lady, we're moving back to Monday, Thursday."
It's not working.
Because the Tuesday, Friday is not working for us. And she accepted it, and she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I understand that, and I understand about myself. I wanted to try something new."
I love that.
Yeah.
So if you're loving this conversation, head over to theprosperitylounge.com, use promo code radio to grab my free 8-step guide to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Join the free community space to get access to our budgeting tools as well as our new app in the App Store. You need to be a member of the Prosperity Lounge to sign in. You can download the app. You need to be a member to join. So again, that's free. Can't beat that. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel here at the Prosperity Lounge so you can join in the live chat every Friday. And also check out when we're doing our Wednesday episodes as well. We do have a live chat there as well. And also don't miss out on all the fun content and interactions we have each and every week at the Prosperity Lounge. We'd love to see your comments and support in the chat. And that would be great. Now, I want to get into we're 40 minutes in. We got 20 minutes to go. Yeah, the thing moves pretty fast as we get started.
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
I talk a lot.
it's cool, man. I appreciate that. I want to talk a little bit about athletes, especially young ones. You told me something that
Yeah.
was pretty fascinating. That the next 6 weeks between now and the end of the year are the biggest development windows of the entire year because teams go hands off.
Yep.
It's a perfect time for athletes to get stronger, faster, and more explosive. Can you explain this holiday gap window and why it's such a powerful training opportunity for athletes?
Yeah. So traditionally, year in, year out, for the 8 years that we've done this, um, the fall season ends, and then most of your recreational sports are not going to start until January 1st or January 15th. Most of your school sports that are spring sports, especially,
Mhm.
are not going to, their coaches just don't have the time to work with them between now and the end of the year. And they say, hey, we're going to start our workouts in January, whether it's January 1st, January 15th. That's when we're going to start our workouts. So that's a perfect opportunity for us to work with these athletes and get a good 6 to 8 week window 2 times a week,
Wow,
and I mean,
I love that.
there's so much that we do. And when you're in that semi-private group, there's so much of that intricate, small detail within training that we're teaching these athletes and empowering these athletes with
Mhm.
that for us, we do have, and it's one of those things where you under promise, over deliver. That's what you're trying to do with everybody.
Right.
And so we have athletes that, week 3, week 4, week 5, parents are starting to say, hey, I noticed this, I noticed this, I noticed this. And it's like awesome. Um, and what we're saying is that in 6 weeks, like, we can level you up, and you can see those differences in your athlete. Now, um, just recently, we added on a young lady who is already an elite softball player, and and she moves well. She needs a little fine tuning, but she's worked with us for a week, and her softball pitching coach was like, "I've already noticed the difference."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
The pitching coach has the trained eye,
Yeah,
so she can see that for sure.
I remember as an athlete in high school I want to say several decades ago, but I was going to say several years ago, keep myself a little younger looking. But um, off season was, coaches would maybe give an off season training program or
Mm,
lifting program, but they sometimes, depending on the state, they weren't allowed to talk to you, touch you, train you,
yep,
look at you, do anything during the off season.
yep.
And private training and private lifting wasn't a thing. Kids weren't going to the gym or working with private trainers or coaches and stuff. It seems like nowadays it's a year round thing. People playing baseball year round or football or basketball year round even because you have your season, but then you have your travel season, you have your AAU season, you have your um, season that you're getting scouted season. You have all this stuff happening, and you have to stay in shape year round. Now, so training is really important in what you're putting in your body and being custom and attuned to all that. It's really taking on this science that it didn't years ago didn't have. So you see, as you're seeing athletes coming in, and you're able to work with them to uh, improve on what they, maybe have lacked last year. Maybe the basketball player will add a couple inches to their vertical so they can dunk or get or quick first step. You guys work with that.
Yeah.
I love that.
You mentioned one thing that you did mention, which is interesting, and it's something that we always talk about with our families, um, especially if you're a travel player and you're playing year round. Like, we have those athletes, and we say, "Hey, let's find 2 times a week that you can come in and get work done with us, in season, out of season. Let's do that." And we're doing that with athletes right now. And we got a young man we've worked with 2 times a week for the last 3.5 years now, and he's a USA hockey kid. And we've done 2 times a week consistently for 3 years, and he is at that Olympic level right now.
There's hope for me yet.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, it's just
Senior
that
Olympics, here I go.
everybody has that time constraint, and we
Yeah,
and we understand that time constraint with families. And we got a family that lives out in Kodak that comes all the way out to see us. And it's like, you only have 2 days a week to see us. Come on in. Let's get this work done. We are going to give you results for those 2 days
yeah,
that you come in.
I love that.
Yeah.
Uh, what would you say one of the biggest myths right now parents are believing about getting their kids noticed by colleges?
Yes, that's a great one. Okay, so right off the bat, I would tell parents, technology is advancing so fast now that you really, if you have the right connections, like a person like myself, and you have your phone, and you can take some video of your athlete doing what they do. You get lined up with some of the right coaches. I know a couple of sports specific, position specific coaches that I have in my network.
Mhm.
You have those people that are connected for you. Your athlete's going to get recruited. It's not like it was 20, 30 years ago
Yeah.
when you and I were getting recruited. It's not like
Big
that.
videotapes on a
Yeah,
camcorder and
we're
mail
not
them
we're
off.
not sending a VHS tape to people. It's like, hey, we're just downloading this onto YouTube. A bunch of people can see it.
Yeah.
And a lot of and it's been I think it's been cool because there are a lot of driven young people who are taking it upon themselves to create the videos, to showcase their talents. The big thing with them is now coaching them on that and saying, "Hey, this clip works. This clip works. This clip works. Maybe not this one," you
Mhm.
know, and being able to do that. But I think parents think that they need to invest into a big recruiting service. I tell parents all the time, like, think for a minute before you put the money down on the recruiting service. Um, think about your connections that you have with coaches, your sport coaches in school, your travel coaches, person like myself. Think about those people. I mean, I spent 12 years at the college level, and it's like, think about those people that have those networks still and how they can help you. And don't think that you need to invest into a recruiting service and do some of that stuff to get exposure. Technology is just in a great spot right now to be able to give kids that exposure. And don't think you have to go to a certain school to
Mhm.
get that exposure also.
Now you're also talking about you guys have correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak out of turn here. A 6-week promo for teams and athletes right now.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
How can families take advantage of that?
Yeah, so we have it's just we're taking care of families between now and the end of the year. And if they wanted to come in for 2 days a week between now and the end of the year, then we have a rate that's $449 for that. And then if they wanted to come in for 3 times between now and the end of the year, then it's $599 for that. And with the 2 times a week, I believe, there's 7 weeks left in the year. I actually wrote it down. It's 6 weeks till Christmas, and it's 7 weeks till New Year,
Wow,
so they get 14 sessions out of that. They get 21 sessions out of 3 days a week, and
that's
so
awesome deal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Can't beat that.
it's just one of those things where if they wanna come on down and get that training, like, we'd love to work with them. They will see a difference in 6 weeks.
Now we talked a lot about youth here, but 60 is the new 40,
Yes.
as they say.
Oh,
Told me
yeah.
half your clients are 55 and older, and your oldest is 76. That's amazing. 76 and
Yes.
still moving.
Oh, I love my super
I
grandies,
love
super
that.
grandies. I love them.
Why are so many adults, especially those over the age of 50, especially training with the Forge?
Yeah, I think, well, the big thing is, what we do is we're in that semi-private environment.
Mhm.
They love it because it's safe.
You're not overwhelmed by traditional gym
Yeah,
specs, so you don't know
yeah.
what you're doing.
They love it because it's safe, and they come in and they want to lift weights. They wanna know that they're doing it correctly, you know? They're not necessarily setting records lifting weights. We're not deadlifting 565, you know? But, if they do weight training 2 times a week or 3 times a week,
Mhm.
especially with older adults, combat osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it gives them more energy, gives them a social environment that a lot we have a lot of
Um,
semi-retired
yeah.
we have a lot of semi-retired and retired folks
It's
that
that community
they
aspect.
want
Yeah.
they want that social environment. They wanna be communicating. They wanna be interacting, with 30, 40-year-olds that are working on their fitness goals, but they wanna see these kids coming in that are athletes after their session and talk to them and interact with them,
Yeah.
and cheer them on. There's so many layers to that working with that 55 plus group that we love, and they love what we do. They love what we do for them. And when they can go like this weekend and, play with their grandkids and not just, feel, totally burned out after playing with your grandkids
Sure.
over the weekend. That's a great feeling for them.
What is one of the most I was gonna say one of the most inspiring transformations you've seen, but give me an example of maybe an inspiring transformation you've seen from an older client or an adult client.
Yeah, I think a lot of our older adult clients, they have for them, it is. It is that like I have 2 ladies, okay, so I have 2 ladies right now, and they're best friends, and they have a landscaping company, and they're they're both, retired, but they have a landscaping company, and they are serving ladies that are in their 80s and 90s,
Wow.
and so they have to be strong and confident so that they can go out and they can work on mulching. They can work on the raking and the mowing, and they can move around and they can do all that stuff, and they can feel spry, and 164 and 170,
Oh man.
and they're like best friends and they're like peas in a pod. But it's like we make them strong so now they can serve those ladies. They can serve those ladies that are in their 80s and 90s that can't do their own landscaping. So it's an
I
awesome
love
thing.
that. So it's never a too late moment when it comes to getting fit.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Well, turn our attention to our Q&A now, Mike. We got some questions that came in from listeners throughout the week when I was posting that you were coming
All
on.
right.
This Q&A section is brought to you by the Prosperity Lounge Partners. It's our new partner program. If you're wondering who I recommend and who I deal with, who's in my circle, Prosperity Lounge Partners will be launching sometime soon. Find out all the details at prosperitylounge.com. Sign up for our free newsletter, and you'll be the first to be able to access our new partner directory coming soon. So there you go. Lauren Merville asked, Coach Mike, I sit at a desk all day and my back is killing me.
Hmm.
What's one thing I can do daily that will make the fastest difference?
Yeah, when you're sitting at a desk, and I talk to people about this all the time. If you can find a way within that environment to get some time where you can stand up and work at your desk,
Mm,
I have a lot of, and usually employers will do this. They will help you out and they'll get you a desk that's like a stand up desk.
I've seen those.
Yes. Now, if you're at home and you have an at home office and you work for yourself, I have ladies all the time who, within the first 2, 3 weeks of working with me, they're like, I got a stand up desk and I got a walking pad, and they just buy it, and it's like, okay, great, let's go. And
So
like sometimes I suggest it to them, sometimes they figure it out on their own. But I would say for Lauren, to be able to get an environment where you can stand up and do some work, sit down and do some work. Um, if you want to back up from that a little bit, though, also Lauren, if you can spend about 20 minutes at your desk and then spend about 5 minutes stretching out. And, I've
yeah.
got like lunge stretches and stuff like that. I show this to our ladies all the time in the gym,
Mhm.
So Lauren, if you're listening, if you want to contact us, like we can bring you in the gym. We do a free session with you. I can show you some of the stuff that we do and how we advise our people that have the
Yeah.
desk options and trying to get to help them combat that and teach them the habits behind it.
I was on a daily Zoom call with some people before, way back, and this one lady, she's in the Zoom call and her head's bouncing around a lot and she's going back and forth. And somebody finally asked her, like, what are you doing? So she was standing up on the Zoom call, but she was on a stepper as well. So she was doing
Uh-huh.
the steps.
Yep,
She's
yep.
getting her steps in while on
Yeah.
the Zoom call.
No, that's great.
That's awesome. Let's see here. That's a good one here. We talked about that a little bit. Uh, Tony in Oak Ridge. I'm 61. I want to get in better shape, but I'm intrigued. I'm intimidated by gyms. How do I even start?
Yeah. I would say one thing for Tony, what I would say is whether it's in Oak Ridge or whether you want to come see us, schedule a session with a professional, a fitness professional,
Mhm.
um, somebody that can show you um, how to move, how to move. What are the most important things within? a weight program or an exercise program, have them invest in them for one session and be able to have some confidence in what you're doing. Um, a lot of times people will write you programs too, and I know we write simple programs for our clients to take to the gym when they're not working with us. And it's a simple program. They already know how to move because they've been working with us. But it's one of those things, Tony, where you got to hit singles, man. So your
Yeah.
first single is just investing in a trainer, and even if it's just one session, invest in them or her and learn some stuff from them. Have them set you up with a program, and that's your first step.
I love that. So we got some questions in the chat as well. Want to know if there's any fad diets that you recommend, like keto or caveman.
I
That's why it's a fad, right?
that's a great question. Do I recommend a fad diet? I tell people all the time, when you are talking about your diet, it's not your vacation from your regular eating habits. So if you are testing out a new diet, then you need to figure out, is this something A, sustainable, B, something that I'm going to stick with?
Hmm.
And I have people that have been doing keto for years and they tell me about it. I have people that have been doing intermittent fasting for years and they tell me about it. That fits for them. One size does not fit all. And I personally don't I don't sponsor any kind of um, diet. I say whatever works for you and whatever is healthy. Now, to get into a deeper dive into that, I would say if you want to eat healthy, then try to eat foods and look at the label, and the less amount of ingredients it has in it, the better it is for you.
Yeah.
Aside from raw vegetables and raw meat.
And it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier, a lot of it being the calories in, calories out. So it's a lot of stuff people are eating. It's not that it's bad, it's just that they're not active to burn that off. So if
Yeah.
they're active, I know when I'm active, Mike, when I'm lifting and I'm going hard at the gym, that I can eat just about anything.
You get hungry.
And then when I stop, I still just eat about anything. And then all of a sudden my body's like, oh no,
Yeah.
why did you do that?
Yeah.
Now
Now
you're
you get
stuck where you're
hungry.
at. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel the same way. That's how it was this week when I was heavy deadlifting. I was like, man, I'm hungry.
So it's something also here mentioned. They've always wanted to have a personal trainer, but they're way too shy.
Uh-huh.
They would get uncomfortable thinking people were they were judging. How do you combat that with somebody? I mean, you talked about earlier on, and I would encourage you to go back and listen to the beginning about the community aspect of the group training, but it's really getting into what's going on in their life, meeting them where they're at.
Yeah. I tell you what, Joey, I have honest and frank conversations with people, and if somebody came to me and said that, I would say, okay, well, is there an event that's happened in your life, where you felt judged, and talk about that. Is there an event within a gym setting or maybe a PE setting or whatever where you felt judged? Okay. And then dissect that and then say, okay, well, consider the possibility that this could be a different experience for you. And consider the possibility that no matter what your trauma is that you have had with other coaches, other instructors, other teachers, that this could be a different experience than what you've experienced. And I'm sorry that you've experienced what you've experienced. I unfortunately I don't control those experiences in your life. I'm sorry that you've had those experiences. But allow me or somebody on my staff to rewrite that story for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're wrapping up here, but I got my 10 rapid fire round questions specifically for you, Mike.
All right.
You ready?
Specific. Let's go.
I think I know the answer to some of these.
I love the Chicago Bears.
I was gonna say, oh boy. Morning workout or evening workout?
Morning.
Favorite exercise for building explosiveness?
Ooh, cleans.
One holiday food that's totally overrated.
That's overrated?
Overrated.
Holiday food overrated. I love all that holiday food.
All
I'd say
right.
turkey.
Turkey. Best pre-work. I know, Vance is looking at me like crazy. Best pre-workout snack for busy people.
First pre-workout snack. Protein bar.
Most common fitness myth you wish would disappear.
That you have to work out 4 or 5 times a week to get results.
One thing every parent of an athlete should stop worrying about.
Stop worrying about,
Yeah.
I would say, stop worrying about what the teammates are doing. Stop worrying about what the parents are doing. Stop listening to the other parents if they're being negative.
One thing every adult over 40 should start doing today.
Drinking more water.
Favorite hype song in the gym right now.
You are more than able. I want that to be our theme song for the gym. Yeah, Elevation.
Love that.
You are more than able.
Oh, we got to pay copyright on that if you sing it.
Okay.
Being forged means
it's being forged means being involved in a culture of strength and unstoppable confidence.
And finally, what's your definition of prosperity?
A close relationship with Jesus Christ.
I love that. Thank you so much, Mike. Before we wrap up, Coach Mike is doing something incredibly generous for our listeners. He's giving you free access to his online training course. This course backs up everything we talked about tonight: habits, foundations, mobility, technique, and mindset. Just go to theforgepn.com and drop your email, or go to The Forge on Facebook and then send a message and use the word prosperity, and it'll send that off to you. That's it. You get the full program completely free. Coach Mike, thank you for pouring into the community, into our athletes, and into our adults, and into this audience tonight. Really appreciate it. Friends, please feel free to share this episode with someone who needs a boost heading into the holidays. We are going to wrap up now, and for the radio, you're here on YouTube, or you're not yet, come on over. We're going to stick around for a little bit longer and have a little bit of post-show fun here. So until next, everybody, stay faithful, stay fearless, and remember, freedom lives where faith and action meet. The lounge is always open, and so is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge.